This question comes from Bobby. She asked, I never know what to prioritize. It seems as if emails and Facebook announcements and presence take up a lot of time. I'm trying hard to grow my list and it is growing slowly. I'm writing a book and making slow progress there. I've had my web designer on standby for months for some updates that I never seem to get to do. I feel as if my productivity is poor. Things seem to linger on my to-do list for a long time. I'm behind with filing. It was suggested to me I should get a virtual assistant, but I'd have to explain everything and that would cost money when I'm only just starting to build a little income. So we can look at this question in two different ways. We can make it about productivity, or we can look at it as a question of what should you focus on. But the next video is another person asked a question specifically about what you should focus on, especially in the early stages of business. What are the most important things to get right early? So I'll leave that there. If you want to see that, just subscribe. In this video, I talk about the productivity side, but not in the usual way, because I don't think poor productivity is the problem. It's a symptom of a problem. And as long as you're treating it as the problem, you're probably not going to be able to fix it. In my experience, entrepreneurs and business owners are not dumb or lazy. So not being productive is rarely the problem, but really it is a symptom of another problem. And there are three by far the most common ones that at least come up with my clients. The first one is not knowing exactly what you should do now and how to do it. If you don't feel that you really know what to do or how to do it, then that is going to lead to poor productivity. You're going to, even if you're working a lot, even if you're basically spending a lot of time, no matter how intently you're focusing and so on, it doesn't really matter, because you're going to have a lot of questions to answer because you don't know what to do. You might be doing 100 different things. Only 2 or 3 might be really effective things or efficient things. All the other things are just stretching you too thin. Or if you don't know how to do something, then you're all the time trying to research what to do or compare different ways to do something, and it ends up looking like poor productivity. Even if you're getting a lot of things basically done, it's not moving you forward. The second problem, very much related to the first, is not feeling confident that you're doing the right thing. And it can be many reasons or many different ways of that. It can be that you're just not sure what to do and hence you don't have the confidence. It can be that there's something about what you're doing that you're not confident you know how to do right. It can be many other things, but that feeling of confidence, even separately from the clarity of what to do, can be the issue. And the third problem is one that I think a lot of people dismiss, but many of those same people actually struggle with, which is not really feeling that what you're doing is a good fit for you. It's not a fit for your style, you don't enjoy doing it, it might feel too salesy or sleazy or aggressive or something like that. Like recently I had a client who talked about, she had a webinar that converted, but she didn't want to use it anymore because it was made with someone who was pushing her to be way too aggressive with the sales. It worked, she just didn't feel comfortable being that type of person who does that sort of a webinar, and then she didn't use it. And that's a really, really common thing. It might not usually go all the way to the, well, I had something that makes a lot of sales and I stopped doing it. But that happens way more than you might think. I come across one of those stories, maybe not every month, but very close. It might be even once or twice a month. Some months it's way more than that. So it's a common thing. And I can say with fair confidence that these are the most common things because these are the ones that people all the time tell to me. And these are also, like, if you just think of it, if you knew exactly what to do, how to do it, you felt confident it is the right thing, it's an effective, efficient thing for you to do, and it felt right. It felt like it is a perfect fit for your business and you. Would you have trouble doing it? I highly doubt it. Pretty sure you wouldn't have productivity problems. And also, I see people who describe themselves as hopelessly unproductive as coaching clients fairly often. And then when they find out, or when they get the clear plan, they know it's going to work, they know what to do, and it feels right, they get things done just so much faster than ever before. So, but this isn't supposed to turn into a coaching ad. I'll go through how you can do the same thing alone if you want to. But basically, do the same thing that I do with clients. Start by going through what are the things you actually need to get done. So this is not a to-do list. This is not a list of tasks. This is more of what milestones you need to get through. So it could be things like get really clear about who are the best target customers for you, or make sure that your offer is one that people actually want to buy. So you don't have to be trying to convince them to buy something they don't actually want or really desire. And that's regardless of is it valuable or not. They might think it's valuable but not really want to buy it. Or it could be build a marketing and sales system that consistently reaches new potential customers and takes them through all the steps all the way to the purchase, and so on. Like it's not to-do list items, it is things you have to accomplish or milestones you have to get through. When you have that list of what you need to get through, then the next step is to prioritize it, or rather organize it. It's not necessarily that the first thing is the most important, it just has to be the first thing. You can't move to the next ones before you've done the first one. Not all of the things obviously are perfectly sequential, but many of them are. And even if something isn't, even if it would be basically a little more effective or efficient to work on a couple of things at the same time, the risk of doing that accidentally when you should do them sequentially is way too high. It just doesn't make any sense, unless you're a marketing expert, of course. But generally, avoid it. Just focus on the first thing on the list. So for example, before you would think of what your marketing message is, so before you would think of what you're supposed to say with your marketing, what you need to show people or say to people so that they buy, you need to have a target customer. You can't do the message before you have a clear target customer. Or before you try to write a sales page or do advertising or email marketing or anything, you need to have the message, because otherwise you don't know what you need to tell people, what you need to show or help people understand so that they want to buy. If you try to mix those into a different order, it just doesn't work, and it can show up as just poor productivity, but the problem really is just that you haven't done the previous parts, and then it's incredibly difficult to do all those things. Trying to write an email or a sales page without knowing what you're supposed to make people think or believe, that's pretty hard. Of course, you can always sort of redo the thinking, but that takes so much time that then you definitely are not productive, even if you work hard. So once you know what are the things you need to accomplish, what are the milestones you need to go through, and you have them approximately at least in the right order, then the next question is, can you do the first thing? Do you know how to do it? If you know, then great, go do it. Just focus on that one thing until you're done. Only do actually essential things. So if you have a client meeting, then obviously go to the client meeting, but like really heavy-handedly remove everything else from your list of what to do. It is just that one thing, get it done. But if you don't know how to do it, or if you're not really sure that you really know how to do it, and we're specific, this is not about can you figure it out. I'm sure you can figure it out. This is a question of do you already have the expertise to do it right? If not, and if that is why you've been struggling to make a lot of progress, then find instructions or find someone to help you with it. Make sure the instructions really fit your situation, not just generic or sort of surface level instructions, but something that really shows you do this, this, and this, so that you get this milestone done so you can move forward. If you don't have that, then again, it is just very difficult to make very fast progress. So overall, think of lack of productivity or any productivity issues as a symptom, not the problem. Because as long as you're trying to solve it as if it was the problem, then you very easily rely on like productivity hacks and such, which can be useful. Most of them are not, but like they can be helpful. I've found some that really made a difference to me. But most of the time they only give a very momentary boost. And even if you're basically very productive, as in getting a lot of things done, if they're not the right things, you're not moving anywhere. And overall, when you get clear about what the problem really is, you can solve it. It's much easier that way. In the next video, we'll look at a question about what are the most important things for a new business to really get right early on. But I'd argue that most, even fairly established businesses, should take another look at those, not because they wouldn't have ever done them, but because there's probably another level to those. Or at least it's anyway useful to go through them every now and then, because they make a difference to everything you do. So if you want to see that, remember to subscribe. And if you liked this video, if this was useful to you, then click the like button. Think of it as a small thank you. It really helps me out as well, so I appreciate it. If you have any questions about this or any thoughts, your own experience of maybe you have struggled with productivity specifically because of these things, or maybe for some other reason, I'm either way interested to hear. And if you have a question, leave it there. I'm going to make more videos largely based on what people ask. I'll see you in the next video.